Fambulem, a warm good evening to everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or warm greetings coming from the Then and Now platform. Today, the 7th of December 2020, me now una host and presenter, Prince Emil Kuma, they come to una live on Facebook on a very special topic. And this now about the mayor and the government of Sierra Leone. Some things, the way they happen, is not strange to we, the general public, but we get a civic duty for highlight things them way they go on. And if we're conscious about them or know a little bit about them, we can equally try for send the message out, for disseminate the message out so that everybody be clued on things the way they go on. Just quick house rules before I move on with this program. First thing first, this particular broadcast tonight is sponsored by KDLK, which is a shop in Peckham owned by a sister when a community activist. KDLK is Keep the Drum and Lose the Knife, which talks about female circumcision and the work and the way they do. So now in the sponsor this program here tonight, which is a quick one. A disclaimer on the music, we own no copyright to the music played. It was simply played for entertainment and education reasons. So just a disclaimer on that. And finally, before we go into the show, the woman who wanna see behind me, Nadilea, is the mayor of Freetown, a very powerful woman. And she's got nothing at all to do with this program here tonight. Just want to clear that off. And people that in fact know this platform is not a biased platform. It's a straightforward platform that talks about issues. Yesterday, we been get Dr. Bernadette Lahai, former minority leader in the House for the ruling government now, party, SLPP, and Dr. Jonathan Sandy, a technocrat, like for column stroke politician and the leader for NURP, and Mr. David, Mr. Mengot, Victor Mengot. 3 expatriate people and me on the program, and we chat good game. I mean, the talk was really good, and we get a follow-up where they come from them, which slightly get to do with some of this program we talk about here tonight, which is about devolution, devolved powers. We talked yesterday, say government's not able for they all side or do everything. So powers can be devolved to other authorities then, so that government in work can be made simple. So anyway, what we do now, we talk within the context of the law. So at the Askuna Fumble, this is not a long program, it's between 30-45 minutes. Maybe there'll be need for us to stretch it to an hour. We're not getting any guests tonight. I just they do a solo, I like for column, okay? A monologue, my friend, like for column. So here is the thing, yeah? The mayor of Freetown, we know, is her worship. She's known as her worship in an official title, and not other people the way they make title up for. This is not the official title for a very serious job in the country, and a very, very powerful one in terms of local authority. Before going any further, I want to deal with the law. I want to go into the law strictly, because the role of local government is spelled out in the law. So you don't act outside of the law, because if you do, which implies that you act against the law and therefore found wanting, but you act within the law, and this is what I know say this mayor is doing. So Section 521 talks about the local council shall be the highest. The local council shall be the highest authority within the locality, and it will have legislative and executive powers. When I listen to this, Fambulem, this is really, really important. Now the local council act, now they read to waiting empower the person who occupy the office, okay? So this authority will be the highest political authority in the locality. And waiting at the locality, we are talking about Freetown. And it shall have legislative and executive powers which will be exercised in accordance with this particular act we are to talk about, or any other enactment around this act. Una yeri how serious that is, the responsibility where this will find itself under as supported by the law. This authority will also, as spelled out in the law, the Local Government Act, shall also be responsible generally for promoting the development of the locality and the welfare of the people who live within that locality. So now the responsibility then of that particular office and its occupant. And the occupants should not be hindered for carrying out a job which is required as per the Local Government Act. But we see different things as at this time will look like the occupant, she is being hindered. But we will come to that. Let's still continue for deal with the law. Okay, so now the Local Government Act then Section 1. Section 2 talks about without prejudice to the generality of that subsection, they were just GGs now. It shall be the function of a local government or local council to mobilize the human and material resource when necessary for the overall development of the welfare of the locality of the people that will dwell within the locality outside the power day. Okay, so it shall be within the remit of the occupant of the office. Promote and support productive activities and social development in the locality, because you get for the reason beyond this, we will understand later, is because you actually get for raise funds. So you get there are things that are actually spelled out, but it not mean say you can't come and try for innovate ideas within the law, legal, so that you were able to generate money. We will go back into the same project where the people occupying that locality will benefit from. So this is the case. And let us not forget, Fambule, let us help shape this video. This is really, really important when they talk about devolved powers, where they see the friction inside Freetown between the mayor, Her Worship Yvonne Aki-Sawyer, and the government of Sierra Leone, which make us for classify or title this program here tonight, why the impasse between Her Worship, the mayor of Freetown, and the government of Sierra Leone. There might be a little bit of noise. I just moved a new studio today. Still, they try for adjust them. So any other noise, be honest, forgive me. We still get merchandise there for sale. This is the Then and Now platform mug still for sale. We got t-shirts and hats for sale. We thought anniversary to come on December 19. It will be celebrated virtually with some invited guests. We go there on the program. So we will talk about the mayor in responsibility them as per under the law. Okay. Also responsible for initiate and maintain program them for the development of basic infrastructure and provide works and services in that locality. This is a huge task because you get you people them where you get for look after. So you get a mandate for also create job in that locality. So it's a good thing because people then go work when they don't work. Obviously, free work no they get paid, and then same money then they is infused or injected into the system. So there is money going around and people are living happily. This is the idea. So another section of this law talks about initiate, draw up and execute development plans for the locality. And I talked about earlier where her duty is to initiate plans. You therefore innovate because you run a principality, a municipality. How that municipality they succeed, it depends on how you run them. And so far, and let's say this, call a spade a spade. So far, waiting with the sea look like a very, very clear that this mayor is really trying to live up to the expectations of her people and the things that we see, like transforming Freetown. So it's not only talk, but we see actions as well. But some of these actions have been impeded by the actions of others. Again, we will come to that. Let's talk a little bit more about waiting the rules they say. Fambule is important for let we understand waiting the rules they say, because once we don't understand waiting the rules they say, then we can then look at the actors, that mean the mayor or the FCC as a whole, which is the Freetown City Council as a whole, how then they conduct themselves, as opposed to the other side, in this case, the government of Sierra Leone, how they are conducting themselves. So the law stands between them. We can able for adjudicate on this matter. It's not a rocket science, who is right and who is wrong. And it's not about a right or wrong thing, but people just want things for go right. Take the politics away, because it seems like now politics now they come in between there. Let me just see who that all they don't join the chat room so we can recognize them. So we get Bobo Labo, okay, a regular on the program. Hello to everyone. Everybody's kind of greeting. Una keep the chat room kind of busy. Let we get una points then what una they make, because this matter is very, very important. It's about the mayor of Freetown. It's about the development of Freetown. It's about the clash of two institutions, one government, the other one a local authority. Who has got the right to run the municipality of Freetown, and what is going on? As power is being devolved to the mayor as it's supposed to be, and if you don't devolve to the mayor, then the mayor therefore is absolutely responsible for a very powerful position, mind you, very, very powerful position, and we will spell that out shortly. So the law also talk about the responsibility for coordinate and harmonize the execution of programs and projects we will promote or carry out by public corporations, yes, by public corporations and other statutory bodies and non-governmental organizations in the locality. We see them clash then they as well. You know, there's a lot going on. So the mayor get this independence, as you can see by law, for cooperate with relevant authorities, relevant agencies, and ensure the security of the locality, and work with other people and just for bring a greater good to the municipality. But it seems like she's stepping on some toes, and some people are getting uncomfortable. And part of this we can summarize before we come to that is, again, not a rocket science. You can see, say, the government of the day is the party, Sierra Leone People's Party. And then a powerful position in the city as that of the mayor is occupied by opposition, All People's Congress. So you can just see the friction where it is coming from. You can see that friction there, USA it come up from. But we go come to that conclusion there towards the end of the program where they wrap them up. So we start about the Lord and Boku, and I just take them, you know, here for read them to una family them. Because once we're familiar with them, then it's something where we all now supposed for sort of think independently on how we perceive things, how things are playing out. The mayor also gets additional function for perform. And you go see, say, the law them also refer to other section them. So you go to the one section and you refer and also law term for references, citations. So the mayor get powers that we devolve to like I be try for talk about earlier on. And you can see, say, that the prescription of any statutory instrument which is made under subsection 2, where part of now be the register, the relevant government ministry shall, in respect of the devolved functions. You see this keyword devolve. Let me remember, say, part of the conversation ongoing now is one which is about the devolvement of power to local authorities. Remember, decentralization also involves devolving powers to other authorities. But these two words can kind of get confusing. And yesterday, one of the guests, I think that Dr. Sandeep, they tried to explain that, but obviously we never had enough time and the microphone was really bad. Okay, so let's go straight to section 23. We talk about government ministries and departments which shall, in preparing and undertaking any project that shall affect a locality, consult the local council concerned. Fambule Munayemi, let me read that again. The government ministries and departments shall, in preparing and undertaking any projects that shall affect a locality, will have to consult with our local council who is concerned. So waiting on them in Fambulem, if a government ministry, they undertake some projects within a locality, in this case, we talk about Freetown, obviously, which is a principal locality run by a mayor, a very powerful position, that government ministry or that minister or any department where they do such, therefore consult with the mayor or the office of the mayor. You can't just go ahead and try for usurp power, because there's power which is concentrated in the hands of the FCC and by default the mayor. So when you want to do something within that limit, you get for consult the office for good governance reasons, not a matter of ego. It's just a matter of principle. It's just a matter of law. You've got to do that. But there are cases in which we see this was not being done or is not being done. And again, I will cite example some time back, and some of it still they happen today. Some time back, let me remember, you been get the issue regarding the cleaning days, Saturday, which this current president then begin, because the cleaning of Saturday, I think the last Saturday in the month or the first Saturday, I'm getting it confused, but one of those Saturdays anyway. This current president, retired Brigadier His Excellency Julius Marabio, was part of a military government then. We institute that discipline day for let people then clean the country, because the country being actually filthy. So when he come back na government, because that move day was popular, now he introduced that move day again during in second spell with the presidency, in this case now, a democratically elected president. But again, there are laws around this. You can't compel people or stifle people and their movement or repress their movement. Say you can't come out, you can do that under military rule. You cannot just go ahead and do that under a civilian rule. But let me say now for the greater good, so people then kind of understand. But once they begin for push and too far, people then begin beat people, and of course, people then not let them kind of idea the name. So anyway, waiting to happen at Freetown should have been in consultation with the mayor. And the mayor been carry out your own exercise them. And you can see, because there has to be some kind of conversation between these two, which is the local government ministry, which has some bearing, on the FCC, but not for come and usurp the power of the mayor. We see them clash, then will happen earlier during them period and day of cleaning, about dirty truck, the renting, the payment, and the rest of it. And it played out openly in the public, very, very openly in the public. So in terms of all of this, you're like waiting section 23 said, we now go on for ask the question, why the topic, the impasse between the mayor and the government of Sierra Leone? Why the impasse? So Fambulen, this take we directly to the Constitution Revision Commission. The Constitution Revision Commission, which is the CRC. It conclude, now listen proper, please. It conclude that government get power for either strengthen or weaken the operation of local government. So a study was conducted in terms of the Constitution Review Commission, Justice Cowan, and in conclusion, it say, and let me bear this in mind anyway, you see, I go get for bring experts and for can talk about this, because you get for set the record straight. The decadence, the degradation, the rot of the system, it began a long time ago, decades ago. Under the one system government of the APC, we see all of these problems in which municipalities, the functions of the municipalities, then they were either reduced or deleted altogether. When I say delete, I mean by the word itself. Then pull and come all together. That was usurping power, because central government because we had the decentralization program. The decentralization program was removed by the late Siaka Probin Stevens back in the early 70s, I believe 72, 73, somewhere around that, and replaced it with something else. So like, for example, you're not going to get mayors them again na Freetown, because you go either, if you get mayor, you go get a stroke, we go say chairperson. So now then kind pattern, and then they introduce, if we remember, those of us old enough or remember, under the reign of Alfred Akibobet, definitely you go a chairman of this. And when you go back in the hinterland, the countryside, you see the chieftain and get a own way they out them in the perform, waiting fall under the jurisdiction, waiting able for take care of, but things were no longer the same. And by the height of the war, when the war turned out in the country, everything scattered, everything. So now, here we are, picking up the pieces. Lomé agreement, they came to a conclusion that local government will have to be decentralized so that you empower people. It's the democratic process, because in this way, people are able to participate. Remember, democracy is about participation of the people. When the people participate, they feel empowered, they feel part of. That's the idea. So they find out, say, the Constitution Revision Commission of the late Pakawan, may his soul rest in eternal peace, concluded that the Ministry of Local Government get power to strengthen or weaken the operation of the local government. In this case, the Freetown City Council. The commission not only tapped it also go on for say that if they observe poor performance of local government, or in the performance of local government, which is seen as poor, that can be attributed to certain things then where the power and in council outline in the report. And then things there where they outline, we can make, that local government perform poorly, or mismanagement. Listen to the second one. Political interference. Did someone hear me? Political interference. And I stress them, I mean, there are others. Okay, let me read them out, then we'll come and see whether we can explain a few of them. Over control of the Ministry of Local Government, inadequate funding, lack of revenue collection strategy, and inadequate human resource, poor remuneration. Fambudelo will break this down to another level. This is deep, really, really deep. Now, it's obvious that if you run something and you mismanage them, it's obvious like there will be a collapse. If not business, there will be a collapse. If not some other entity, like an institution, of course, there will be dissatisfaction over all appraisal where you do, it will be negative, and just poor performance, which means that there are no gains. So we know that mismanaging something, it can lead to bad governance in this case. So political interference, where we they see with this particular administration of Freetown, the mayor is being hindered time and time and again. And I'm not making this up. It's out there. We've seen it time and time and again. There is tension for reasons, again, what I said earlier. The national government is led by the SLPP. The two major parties, them, they clash somewhere, and the mayoralship, they're right in the middle of this, because a powerful position such as that of the mayor of the City Council of Freetown, the municipality of Freetown, belongs to the opposition. But there is nowhere where it appears, like say, what this woman they do is political. Let's be honest. Let's keep it honest. Maybe you can get your suspicion. It could be true. But on the outside, we, the general public, I go speak for some certainly, because certainly others would disagree. But then you get for come to the table with facts. We, the general public, they see that this woman have worshipped the mayor, just want to go about and do waiting na a mandate. She's made it clear. She's spoken many times, of course, na public figure. So she's spoken many times. Don't come out with things that are of value for put the city on top of the value chain. They interact with others, you know, yeah, other major organizations, countries, and others, for make sure, say, the City Council of Freetown become vibrant, and whatever gains come from this relationship where they establish with other bodies, then both within and without, go pay good dividend in the end, which means that the people of her locality will benefit, and subsequently the country will be looked up to, and the capital will be spoken of in good terms. But we see this political interference where they hinder progress. And remember, we say some of the things found by or recommended, or the conclusion of the CRC report. Now, some of the things in this way you find out that poor performance of the local government is due to A, mismanagement, B, political interference, C, over control by the Ministry of Local Government. Again, we come to this one, over control by the Ministry of Local Government. Again, we're not to make this up. This happened in real time right before we own eyes and was captured on tape. You know, everything now is on tape. We see the clash between the mayor of Freetown and the deputy minister of local government, I believe then, who said a lot of things, which most of it was not correct. Most of it was not correct. And you know what, Ian, again? I mean, it may look like a bully tactic. Let's say this for sure, because you only need to go back and look at the tape, and you could see how infuriated the minister was, what he was saying, his body language, and who he was speaking to. We need to understand them in that context. It's not like some junior employee, by the way, even though you know even get right for talk to a junior employee of his in that fashion. In this instance, he was speaking to her worship. Yeah, the title, her worship, the mayor, who happens to be a powerful person who owns Freetown figuratively, because now in patch down there by law, and see waiting the man been tell him and how we been tell him, I they speak to him in public, in full view of the people. So all of these things are not being made up. These things are just facts. But see how the woman carry herself. You see, this night and they talk about maturity. This night and they talk about experience. And I'm not going to say further on that because I get very much more for say before we close this program. Okay? I get very much more for say before we close this program. Go and watch the tape again and let's have a fair assessment of this. Because all we tell they say is on the record. It's not like I just decide for speak, just speak up out of the blues. No. Would they talk something here very relevant to the development of our country? And would they say all of these things within the context of the law, the Local Government Act, which I don't read bullet point by bullet point for UNU. And UNU don't see them. It's there. And this line are the thing where we need for the do as Sierra Leoneans then. And I can always say this. It is the role of the conscious for conscientize the unconscious. This comes from me directly. The role of the conscious to conscientize the unconscious, because there are many unconscious people, like what we talk now. So sometimes because of partisanship, because of color, because of ideology, entrenched politics, polarized politics, we left the truth and they follow the lies. We become gullible. And this need for change, if we make progress, a really need for change. We need for lift ourselves up as a people. So the lack of revenue collection strategy, now one of the things them we then conclude as well from the commission report. So you see why I say the person where they kind of power as the mayor, it get this duty for innovate, for create means on how to generate revenue, because the authority itself need revenue despite the grant way government they give, and that is by law, not to favor government they do the council. This is not the agreement. There's a contract between both. So the mayor, and this mayor has proven it on how strategies on how for raise revenue, for make the municipality a wholesome, functioning municipality, helping to develop the lives of the people, bringing value to the lives of people, putting the interests of people on top of the value chain. We've seen this time and time and again. Empower the police, the local police, the FCC police, you know, so they get police, where they go around for collect taxes from the people, where they sell, they use the public space for sell. So you pay tax. This is just a function. And then taxes, then they go to the woman in pocket. These taxes are rehashed and put back out to the community, so the community look viable, clean. So you go see dirty truck them, they go pick dirty, then get for go empty them. Now people and they drive their truck, and these people will have to be paid, and so forth and so on. So it's a kind of cycle. So if they ask you for pay tax, please pay your tax. Not just go on the street, you want to sell and you don't want to pay tax for run the municipality. It's just part and parcel of the program of government and authorities, how to generate fund. Another thing where the mayor do again, now the property tax. That property tax, they will see what happen. And again, now something where they generate fund for the greater good of the city. Yet we see how certain people try to impede within the mayor being they try to do. We see that clearly. And then try to make a case in which they try to make the woman look insensitive, I go say. Because that's exactly, in my opinion, the case where they try for bill. Because the minister go on for say, you can't do this at this time because of the pandemic. Well, I can give the minister that, but that does not stop government from functioning. That does not stop people from paying taxes. If people already make money during that period, because we can understand, like Usami Deso, everything was closed. Everything was closed. So therefore, government be able for fund people and give people and grants, give people a loan, soft loans, and what have you, people and get 5-6 years, you have for pay. But they are rich, they can afford that. So that's what they did. But in this other case, we own governments not getting X amount of money, and they, in fact, they struggle economically. But still, monies were being generated. There were restrictions, but not restricted as here. Because if you put that kind of restriction and they were then put around midday, then obviously there would have been a collapse. So the mayor introduced this, asked for these property taxes, to be paid based on the value of properties, and people cry foul because of the time. But she was clever enough for also make like a soft package that it takes you an entire 12 months to make that payment for your property. And then property tax and they as well, where all the money they need to come. Now for keep that same city, usa you dwell, usa you they inhabit, usa you they do your business, usa you picking and the worker, usa you they go up and down by your daily business, safe, clean, and healthy. Gutter block, then get for go clean them. Dirty lidoyanda, then get for go take them. We get for, you empathize. We have to. Because it's an absolute necessity that if we don't, it cannot affect us. Because what she's actually doing is for a city which is busting at the seams. All the facilities are almost, exhausted. Everything from the water system to the electrical grid and the streets and the public space, because of the swelling of the population for a city which was built for a few thousand people, tens of thousands of people. Now you're talking about over 1 million occupants in that space. So she's got too much work to do. So the other one talks about inadequate human resources. Absolutely. So if you see the two things then where the commission conclude pan, where it say government get the power for strengthening or weaken the local government, in this case, the city council. These are just some of the things. And it's clear. And remember, the justice concluded this thing some time ago. This now make they can choose people and like them one and they for rights, then kind of business there, because they know waiting in the sea going forward. They know. Because it's about the future. It's not about then and there. It's about the future. And this is what we are seeing. So government get the power for either weaken or strengthen. So it's simple. If it were a government, a mayor who is from the ruling party, of course it would have been all nice and and clear that they will be strengthened. That mayor, if that mayor had come from the ruling party, that mayor would have been strengthened and given everything he or she would have needed to run the city. Because why? The credit is going to be due to the government, the mayor, who is a member of the ruling party, and then the ruling party. So everything, everything goes to them. But in this case, it's the opposite, that the mayor is from the opposition party. So it just looks normal in our political circle that you will try to strangle, and this is it, strangle the mayor so that she cannot be effective. And if she's not being effective, eventually she becomes unpopular. People become fed up. It's like you're no good at your game. But people need to smart up and see if she's not, this is why. But even with all of these, 2.5 years on, she's managed to survive and kept her head up. Very strong woman. Again, I'm not making this up. I don't know her personally. I just watch the news, the tapes, and read the records, the reports, and this is what I'm reading to. This is what I'm reading from. I hope people just understand this. So it's not an APC, SLPP thing, and I don't think she's kind of involved with that personally. I'm talking about within the public space. I'm not talking about a private space because I'm not there, but on the public space, she just wants to do her job. So she wants a free hand to do her job. She wants cooperation from the government. Monies, grants that are supposed to be paid to the mayor. And by law, these grants are meant to be given. And they're meant to be published. They're meant to be allocated at a given time. And if you're working with a timetable, and you don't get your money on time, which you are supposed to use to carry out your remit, then you tell me what happens when you're lagging behind time to do things. And then the clogging of all, because it's not static, it's a moving thing. She starts the year, they've drawn out the yearly plan. In 3 months, we will have accomplished this. In 2 months, we will go for this. And then suddenly, where the grant is supposed to come from is stifled. And it appears like deliberately, because there is a timeline in which that grant is supposed to be allocated. And there is a budget, so there's the money, because the minister goes on to read the budget. So there's the money, and it is stipulated in law, by law, but then it's not given on time. And the question that beggars belief here is, why not on time and consistently? So when you put all of this into the mix, you deduce, you adduce, the only thing that you come up with, bearing in mind the political nature of things, is there is a deliberate attempt to strangle this mayor, to stifle her plans, so that she don't appear to be the strong person, developmentally oriented as she is. Fambulem, unallow shape this video, we almost they come to an end. We get roughly, I've decided to do 45 minutes, but I will, continue for another 15 minutes before I end this program. And normally the chat room can be kind of busy. Yes, Mr. Mohammed Kamara, welcome to the program, sir. The chat room can be kind of busy, but what I don't notice lately is like sometimes, when they speak truth to power, the reality, people are glued. And I like this, even though I go like for let people and they send their points of view now the chat room, where sometimes they why at the broadcast I can look at them, but some other times, after I done, I can go through all the reports they did. Okay. Somebody don't comment, but Carissa, why do your pal Adebayo continue to grossly abuse the mayor? Why none of you all says nothing? This is absolute nonsense, Mr. Sao. Yeah, it's absolute nonsense. You know my pages, you know my blogs. And I don't tolerate abuse. I don't sanction what Adebayo does. No one should be abusing people on that level. So I don't know why you're bringing it here and saying your pal. You always make these funny mistakes and you're making yourself look funny on social media. Try to write responsibly. Try to write concretely, my friend. Stop apportioning people where they don't belong, okay? I don't condone that. And I don't know what else you want me to do. Yeah. Anyway, so Fabule, will talk about the mayor now today, and the reason why the mayor will perform poorly, as outlined by the Justice Cowan in report. So there is an ongoing struggle for control of government, apart from the fact that the executive is controlled by the ruling party, while the subsidiary, the Freetown City Council, because that's we need to understand. This now power play, and I've been talk earlier on. My coffee is getting cold. Now, been talk earlier on, there's a power struggle ongoing because of the political nature of things. You get the government, of course, and by nature, the government, very powerful, of course, on a national level. Unfortunately, the seat of government happened for day inside the municipality of Freetown, to which the mayor is the Don. Did you hear me? The mayor is a very, very powerful position. I make Shaka Stephen try for water and down, dilute them, delete them, like I used the word earlier. Delete them. Because it's difficult for to get the presidency, na the seat of government, na the capital, and then you get a mayor there. And if that mayor they not to you party person, understanding the nature of politics, say you're in for a difficult run and like that. And part of this conversation ongoing right now have a water down them position there in which you defend way for send a represent that the role for be a non-partisan role. Well, I'm struggling to understand this. I will therefore bring my expert brother, Mr. Mengot, one of these days, so he go because he understands these things, here to the tip of his finger, for can explain to me. Enough for be a partisan elections and the rest of it, and then you get this confusion because you get the chief administrator. Don't get me wrong, the government get an eye inside the FCC, who happens to be the chief administrator. He sits on some board na the Freetown City Council, but not to the mayor employer, na the government employee. So na government representative. So that person in reports to government, waiting the ongoing inside the FCC. And I don't know why, if the mayor not able for or get the power for employ in your own person, in your own chief administrator, because that seems to be another form of interference, because that reports they all go to the local government minister as per the CA where they sit on there, and then the local government minister can always chastise the mayor as to why you not tell me this, why you not tell me that. Wrongfully, she don't have to by law. It not for tell you. If it tell you now, probably courtesy and just principle and etc. But you go on demanding. Now I make you get you see they sit on there. I don't believe there is anything secret. You get you see a sit on there. You see they go report to you what's going on in official circles, not a kuku jumuku or looking gun business. Now straightforward business, and that's what I suppose she's doing, talking about bringing real value to the city. Building a city, turning it upside down, from what we've known it, and making it, viable, a 21st century city. That's what we are talking about. That's what we want to see. We're talking about rail cars hanging over us. Can you imagine that? And that would be beautiful. Imagine a mountainous Freetown. They commission a big program. They commission a building. Where means so much, here to the country and the capital in particular. And Mr. President take off and go Kenema for go unveil a statue. And you therefore ask which is important. So you see the politics they play out there, those of Una the denying Thomases. It's not hard to see. That was a major event. In any case, bigger than what happened in Kenema that day. Why would you schedule such when such was ongoing in Freetown? There can only be one reason, which is you wanted to snub the program that was ongoing. You didn't want to give it any credence, and you found it difficult to be there. Instead, you went to a more lower profile program than what was happening in the capital, where all eyes were on, the wall cameras were on it. Why would the president do that? Only one reason, political. So these are the many trials and tribulations of the mayor of Freetown, the many trials and tribulations of the mayor of Freetown. Let me talk about resource mobilization before we end this program quickly. I will just try for rush through resource mobilization, okay? And this is again about the law. One tells us about local councils shall be financed from their own revenue collections. Some of them are already begun to talk about them. But yes, one talks about every local council shall be financed. All local councils shall be financed from their own revenue collections. And then, apart from their own revenue collection, you will also get these grants where they come up from government, which I talked about earlier. Okay? And that grant then are for devolved functions. Like I say, we therefore can talk about this word one of these days, devolved and decentralization, and what it means. So you see how all this argument lately about decentralization and the devolving of powers, it gets something to do with all of this. It's a kind of chain effect. All of it. So the grants where they give the mayor now for devolved functions and for transfer for services delegated from government ministry, because the mayor can do work, here for them as well. They can, they talk about devolve. When you devolve power, something in the way you ask, here for it to be done, and once it's done, you get for pay something, then call it a payment, but in this case, they don't call them payment, then call them grants, but that's why it's coming, okay? Grants shall also be provided to local councils in accordance with section 46, 47, and 48. we are going to read 46 to una shortly. In fact, I'll go to 46. So each year, local councils shall be paid tithe grants. Each year, local councils shall. So tithe grants are something we government, the local council title. It's a kind of like a must that it will be paid, because now something where the local council do for government. So therefore that money will have to be paid. So certain money is tied to something. Typical example, my friend Minigimi, is like when we talk about a free education, for example, and the reason why we get municipal Freetown, I don't think say most people know where the name municipal come from, and at the same time, not many people know. But these are the power of the council, of the mayor of Freetown. And I not only they talk about it now, they talk about then, decades ago. Okay, so like the president in free education program, it gets something for do within schools there. And then it pass on through the mayor for let the mayor carry out their acts. Then they whether not cook, then they pay them at the school them for make sure say the president in quality program, education program take off and be viable. So them kind of money then they go be a tithe grant. You also get money for the discharge of the devolved functions. So like what you mean see, so that cleaning on Saturday, okay, we not been the government in program. But inside the city, since now the mayor is responsible for the city, instead being a part of that. So governments go also give money for program the way it devolve to the local council. Say, okay, I want for let you do this, and clean this farm road. So look, 50 million. So then kind of money, then that's what we're talking about. So you can also pay money towards the administrative cost for some of them devolve work there. Okay, the total amount of grants where governments they allocate to the FCC on a yearly basis to local councils by the minister. I mean, then they assign onto the local council, and the minister is responsible for that disbursing of that money by statutory instrument. The minister is responsible. Okay, so local council have been for establish departments where they finance all the local councils. So if we go back to 46, section 46, it will also talk about the total amount of grants to be allocated to local councils, which I got stuck on, is every year, they form part of the budget. I think I talked about this earlier, they form part of the budget. So it's something which is appropriated in the budget by law. So it has to be given, and on a given time, because when you don't appropriate in the budget, then a disbursement next. Why the council Freetown City Council always get ton and what have you. That's her money. That's the council's money. It's appropriated in the budget. It's not to somebody in personal money. It's for carry out projects, for make the city be a city. Okay? So that budget they also nothing when they publish a newspaper and they make loud of, and that's not the independent nature of the thing. So people can kind of see exactly where they go on. So that's the kind of accountability process, if you like. Okay. When they present the national budget, the total amount of the grants to local councils shall not be changed. Shall, whenever they use shall pan law, then a pauper, then a must. It shall not be changed unless the total amount of funding is changed. Did you hear that? And in such circumstances, the changes for individual local councils shall be based on recommendations of the local government finance committee. Okay, Famulem. We don't run over time. So let's just conclude this quickly. The main point of contention in all of this is this. I don't say them and I just they go over them again. The mayor and the central government are funded from central government where the mayor claim say not to say inadequate, but for let it run the affairs of the ministry of in council, the Freetown City Council. All this mayor they ask is like, this money when they appropriate, this grants, are they big? Not for give me on time. I get me project them and they are costed and they are date, time, you know, everything is programmed. So if you don't give me on time, then you cause me some serious problems. And like I've been saying, it look very, very kind of deliberate. This kind of action, they affect the ability of the mayor for carry out in duties, because he get in project then we already outlined. You know, say get this big platform here, this big program for Transform Freetown. Imagine Transform Freetown. That's a huge task. But from the woman in output, in action, in attitude, you know, say she's not playing around, she's serious. You know what they talk about. So you can only see one thing. And it's slow and down. And the worst I can say, they strangle them. Okay? The mayor himself don't resort many a times to fundraising from private sectors. They don't do this boku and way it can do. And I tell you something. They don't go to the international foundation then, such as them Bloomberg, them we bilateral, multilateral partners, them defeat them, the World Bank, the IMF, them. They don't go to them all. A very powerful woman, strong and known, and able for casual talk, make the case, and eventually they don't succeed many a times where money were given. And this not go down well with the government, you know, by the way. And the minister of local government don't make this very clear to them that he consider that in the way the mommy they do, that say they undermine them. Instead of saying they undermine the mommy, they say that the mommy they undermine them because it's not supposed for they do what they do, which is not true. The mayor is powerful and independent and can do all of them things than they. Okay. This is a plan directly related to the funding of the development plan for which they try to undertake projects in a very locality there, which is Freetown. Finally, Section 85 talk about local council shall, before approving or reviewing a development plan, consult residents of the locality, agencies of government, and non-governmental and international organizations that have interest in working in the locality. So the minute the Mami can do that, talk to people both within and without. The ministry responsible for development and economic planning shall issue guidelines or the preparation of development plan. The ministry responsible for development and economic planning shall issue guidelines or the development plan. So we come to property rate, what I talked about earlier on, where thing we provide under law, section 69, part 1. They talk about the property rates provided for in the estimates of a local council in any financial year shall be a uniform rate on the assessed annual value of assessed buildings. This is not verbatim they read, assessed buildings, and shall be a single rate in respect of each class of assessed buildings. The reason why I read this again, now because as we talked earlier on, we see say there were problems where the Mami tried for introduce or put into effect, not introduce, put into effect, then rules there. Okay? They put into effect, then rules there. Stable, now begin pay with property tax there again, because this is not something we're supposed to happen for councils. Okay? But again, then they not go down well again with the minister, but this is not according to law. Now I make back again, I try for read them, you know, here to now waiting the law say. Section 69(2) talk about the rates. Okay, then rates that were provided, the estimates approved by a local council, wherein after referred to as the approved rate. So now on that basis, they in the act. A local council may be resolution approved payment by resolution approved payment. A local council by resolution can approve payment of rates in 2 or more equal installments to be paid within 1 financial year. We all remember the story of Fala. This is exactly what she did. She never acted outside of the remit of the law. The resolution shall state the period after which, if full payment is not made, the owner, like anything else, go deem, say, but you don't refuse for pay, and probably other civil actions go follow because it don't become debt, if you understand. So we see the mayor and the government, by this particular regard, then hold on there again. They try to undermine, and the minister come out and say, oh, you know, get no sympathy and empathy for we people at this time. They show so much insensitivity. And while some people they do worse, all she tried to do was to generate money, you know, here for the council, which is not going into a private pocket, just for develop the country. So let me not forget saying that the same formula I use for develop the town council, Nabo, where they use for revalue all them property then they. So there was an increase in the annual rate for most properties in Freetown, but you get to reflect that with the time. Same formula used in both city councils and other places. The local government minister placed an embargo on rate. Listen to this. He actually placed an embargo on the rate collection, claiming, like I say, it was inappropriate, it was insensitive. The mayor had no heart, you know, for her to demand payment, not even demand is the wrong word, for, you know, get people for pay them tax, their property tax. Minister say COVID-19 time, we get pandemic, people are facing hardship. I was pure political goal score. It does make sense though. Let me give the minister that. Yeah. But Yvonne, her worship was open, say, but now 1 year, and the money, of course, not everybody could afford it, but if you get us, it means that you can afford them because you get the renters then. Were the renters not paying rent? That would have been the question if I were the mayor. I would have asked that question, certainly. The renters, most people are rent and rent. If the renters are not be the pay rent because of the COVID-19 again, because it's not normal, then it's understandable. Did the minister conducted any study or just on top of his head? So the minister claimed that in need for give the mayor direction, and that direction they need for be approved by the council. Again, this is false. With all due respect to the minister, the mayor don't have to do that. And even if it tell them, they don't need approval or that one day for going to parliament. It doesn't work that way. The minister need for doing assignment, okay? So all in all, it appears like say this all a delay tactic for starve the mayor of vital funds for the transformation project where it promised the people of Freetown, okay? And it not only stop locally, but internationally, it don't win few accolades abroad from strategic partners and well-to-do organizations, high-profile organizations, and high-profile people globally. And that, again, is not going down well with some. I won't name them, but you know them. Service delivery is something we supposed to be devolved to the local authority, and I think this is the case. So all they need for do, now for give Mayor Yvonne Aki-Sawyer the chance for let him run the government. If we're not listening yesterday, there was a program on AYTV. Now yesterday, where the minister, deputy minister of waiting self been the local government, Honorable Lahai Lawrence Lima, and he says certain things then which again they are questionable, talking about non-partisan. I mean, this talk here, like I say, I don't run out of time. We'll get for bring a master class on this subject for come broken down for we. Finally, the generality is that Freetown is a major battleground. Freetown is a major battleground for both parties them in the next general and presidential election, presidential and parliamentary elections. Freetown is a major battleground. A successful mayor winning the hearts and minds of the people, such as what this mayor is doing, is a threat. I repeat, it's no secret, and I'm not mincing my word. It's a direct threat to a second-term agenda by this current administration. But all we are asking as citizens of the country is please give the mayor the chance to do what she was mandated to do by the people who elected her to office. The CAs and others are not elected. These are appointments. People are elected. They've got so much more power because the people, power belongs to the people. So please give Yvonne a chance to be the mayor that she wants to be, which certainly will benefit the people of Freetown. On this note, I thank Una for tuning in, and Supermed will be back on Saturday. And we get with 30th anniversary, they come, they put the package together, it will be live. And I want to help shape this video, let it go viral. Thank you very much and good night.